Hi, this is Jamey Stegmeyer with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Vindication. This is my Kickstarter copy that I got a few months ago, and I finally got to play it for the first time yesterday, and I really enjoyed the mix of Euro-style kind of puzzle elements and theme. The theme is really, really well done in here, despite how almost abstract the mechanisms are. They end up being tied really well to the theme and the story of the game. I have a few things I want to show in this game. I do have a favorite mechanism, but I wanted to show a few little detailed component touches that I really admire. One is that each player has their own little game tray here that I think was actually made by Game Trays, but it just makes the organization of the game really easy. I like that touch. I really like, in the game, you are thematically kind of a wretched person who has crash landed on an island. And during the game, when you're exploring, you draw out of a bag. And in any other game, this would have just been called like the exploration bag or the bag. In this game, because of the theme, it's called the scum bag, which I thought was just a brilliant little touch there. Again, some of these might be Kickstarter components. I don't know. The last thing, I'm pretty sure this isn't a Kickstarter component. This is just really, really clever, I thought. Every player has a little reference guide that tells you what you can do on your turn. And if you look really closely there, if you freeze the screen, you can see that they've included the page numbers for the rule book that you can look at if you want more details about these. So most of these are completely self-explanatory after you read the text on here. But if you want more information, it's really, really helpful. This is incredible. I don't think I've ever seen this in the game. It's so helpful to have the page number there. So instead of like looking through the rule book to see where the activate explanation is, you just look right here. It says it's on page 8. Go to page 8. Really, really clever touch there. My favorite mechanism in the game, though, are the endgame triggers and how the endgame triggers are revealed. I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you why I like this. Basically, at the beginning of the game, at least we played a 3-player game. Maybe this varies based on player count. At the beginning of the game, you reveal 2 endgame triggers from this deck of 12 different endgame triggers. And when any one of these is accomplished, the game ends. It's not that you're trying to accomplish multiple endgame triggers. When any one of these is accomplished by any player, and some of them do tie to all players. Like this one says, when one player has 0 influence on his or her player board, the next round becomes the final round. So that's individual to one player. This one says, when all players have upgraded their mount to at least speed 4, the next round becomes the final round. So you have these endgame triggers. 2 are revealed at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, though, you also set up on certain apexes of the board, like here and over here. You put a token on each of those spots. And this is the honor track, kind of the victory point track of the game. When any player crosses over one of these spots, so I believe you start at 15, so the first spot that you'll hit is 30. When any player reaches or crosses over 30 honor, you reveal a new endgame condition. And this is what I really, really like about this game. This is my favorite mechanism. Because as the game unfolds, as you are moving forward in terms of victory points, something that you are always incentivized to get so that you win the game, it's a competitive game, you are unveiling new endgame triggers, thus increasing the chance that the game will actually end at any given time. So the game is giving you an organic way of ending the game without having it drag on forever and without having artificial constructs like rounds in the game. So you just play the game until someone wins, but you have, because more endgame triggers will come out as players get more points, the chance of any player hitting one of those endgame conditions increases significantly. And even one of them that we hit, that may not come out in any given game because there are 12 of these, and I think only 6 will be revealed. One is if a player, If a player picks up the final token from this track, so the final token would be on 90. So if a player picks that up, has that many points, then the game will end based on that card. So I love that. It's just a really, really cool mechanism. So if you're trying to design a game that you don't want to use rounds, instead, I think this is just a brilliant mechanism that other designers could use to use the victory point track as a way of having players unveil new victory point endgame conditions, not victory point conditions, endgame conditions, and thus increasing the chance that the game will actually end. Really, really clever mechanism. Really, really brilliant. And I thought that was a really, really nice touch in Vindication. If you've played Vindication and you have a favorite, a different or the same favorite game mechanism, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. Or if you have another game that has something like this, that this reminds you of a mechanism in another game, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments as well. Thanks.